Hey guys, what up? Total Control 871. What we're looking at is a video segment. I guess you can call it a recap of 13 Reasons Why. The only real interest that I seem to have in this particular series, though I've never watched a single episode, is that I guess it shows creator, or perhaps the author of the book that the show is predicated on. We seem to have had the same idea in regards to suicide, to chronicle the reasons why we're doing it, and more specifically laying it at the feet of the people who are responsible. This young man that we're looking at with the scarred up face, he blames himself for not loving this girl named Hannah. That had he have loved her, then he could have prevented her suicide. There's a great deal of fallibility in that logic. Most notably, nobody owes you their love. Okay, nobody owes that to you. Nobody's under any kind of obligation to love you. If that were the case, then I don't think it would be love. He does go on to say, excuse me, he does go on to say that that he did have emotions for Hannah, but that I guess maybe peer pressure. I'm just speculating at this point because, like I said, I have not watched the episode, but I guess it was because of what, peer pressure or something, that he did not show his affections for her, or something of the sort like that. And of course, this whole thing culminates in her suicide, slitting her wrist. The show is hotly debated, from what I understand. The show's hotly debated about whether or not it does harm, does good, does, whatever. Just getting myself situated here. I'm all bundled up. Got my hot coffee. I was chit-chatting with Scrag over on his channel. We were talking about how we cyclists, we feel the temperature a lot differently than you non-cyclists. We get cold easy. That's why I often let people know in my cycling advocacy that not only will becoming a cyclist save you immense money in the gas tank, but it will also save you immense money in your home heating and cooling. So yeah. Alright, getting back to my topic here, we're going to be talking about the psychopathology of suicide, in my own amateur understanding of it. Suicide. The reasons, the reasons why, although I seriously doubt the reasons are limited to 13. Some people only need one reason, Who's to say that you need a particular amount of reasons to commit suicide? The whole series seems very teen angsty. He didn't love me. For perfect clarity, I've been there. I won't get too deep into it. When I go to do my sober suicide vlog, I won't be getting too deep into it. Suffice to say, I've been there. I know what it feels like to be hopelessly and completely in love with somebody and they do not feel the same way about you. I've been in the, let's see, for some of you sci-fi fans out there, I was Chloe Sullivan, he was Clark Kent. For some of you who may remember the old 90s show Queer as Folk, I was Michael, he was Brian. So basically like that. So like I say, I'm not going to get too deep into that whole thing. But yeah, the teen angsty thing, I would not end my life because of anything in that regard. Like I said, nobody owes you their heart. Nobody's obligated to love you in that way. suppose you could also argue nobody's obligated to love you, period, you know. I know I spoke of the 5 psychological pillars: love, family, shelter, food, security, sex, you know. These things are the basic principles that hold up our psychology. I myself live without a number of them, leaving the remainings, you know, I use an analogy, spokes on a wheel, or pillars, or whatever analogy you want to use. What's left is left to bear the strain of that. There's a great many things that I lay at the feet of the state of New Jersey, the federal government, ex-employers. You know, they are very much indeed responsible for having caused a great deal of psychological trauma, social injustice, financial, economical injustice, many civil crimes, and maybe even a couple of criminal crimes as well that they're guilty of. However, state of New Jersey, federal government, or any of my employers are in no way whatsoever responsible for my love life or the lack thereof. That's solely on me. You know, that's something they have nothing to do with. And no, I would never ever end my life for those reasons. That being said, the quantifiable reasons that I am being pushed to the only option of ending my life, because like I say, I don't want to do it, but you know, my options are very quickly running out. I don't think I want to stick around for the next, you know, although nobody's tomorrow is ever guaranteed, but you know, for however much time that nature would normally give me, do I really want to live that under the same nightmare hell that I've been going through? Inequality, poverty, you know, things like that. Let's see, I'm trying to think here. There's a guy, I was gonna maybe do a separate video of him, but I forget his name. He's a white dude. Maybe if I, you know, search his name later. Point is, he owned one of those private planes, a prop job, and he ended up in his up to his eyeballs in back taxes and shit like that. You know, a lot of guys end up like that who own these boats and planes and, you know, estates and things like that, and whether they end up in hock like that or in owing the IRS is because maybe they were living above their means. Whatever the case may be, point is, this man, he flew his private plane into the IRS building. I forget exactly which one, you know, but he flew his plane into it. Some may see him as a terrorist, and I won't be lying to you, there are some out there who probably even see him as a folk hero. We are talking about the IRS, the destroyer of lives, you know, but however, I don't really have that much sympathy for him. Whether he was in the right or the wrong about his beef with the IRS, the point is that this is a man that felt he was entitled to a lot of luxury in life. The vast difference with me is that I don't feel like I'm entitled to luxury. I believe I've referenced it briefly in some previous videos that you know, I gave up the notions of BMW, Tudor-style homes, a lot of upper middle class lifestyle. I never thought that I'd ever be rich, you know. But I gave up the notions of a middle class or even an upper middle class life, and I tried to settle on something very humble. And these circumstances of life, you know, it just kept pushing back further. It's like it kept saying to me, no, you can't have that. You're going to be even more poor. No, you can't have that either. no. So all I got was a lot of no, despite my best efforts, despite, burning as bright and as hot as I possibly could, my star just couldn't burn bright or hot enough to illuminate that darkness, and I just ended up getting swallowed up. So now here I am, homeless man, living pillar to post on a bicycle. I don't own a car and don't want to own a car. So I've been pushed back to those extremes, to that bare bones existence. And that's why I say I don't really have a whole lot of sympathy for our luxury IRS 911 man. There was another guy, he's on YouTube. He bought something like 2 cars, and there were taxes to be paid on the cars, and they had to be paid at the DMV. I really don't know how that works. I don't own cars, don't want to own them, so I can't really tell you how that works. But it was something like $6,000, I want to say, that he owed in taxes, or was it $3,000? Whatever it was a few $1,000s that he owed in taxes. This man, or was it that he paid a couple of $1,000s to, he paid, I think, $1,000 to hire people to help him unwrap a fuckload of pennies, and it was in something like 5 wheelbarrows full of pennies that he dumped at the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicle, and that was his way of expressing his contempt for having to pay those taxes. Again, I'm no fan of the IRS, but then again, I'm not exactly terribly sympathetic. You've got money like that to buy 2 brand new vehicles? Wow, you seem to be doing pretty good for yourself. Doing so well that you even have an extra $1,000 to spend on hired hands to help you, express your contempt. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to be doing the Sober Suicide series in the next couple of days. And I came across, I just came across this 13 Reasons Why little thing, and I don't know, I just, I'm thinking about, I guess maybe what you will be thinking about, should I be left with the only option of ending my life? I've given up the fight to make you understand that it's not a product of mental illness. You're going to end up thinking that, That's why I even I think a couple nights ago I cracked up a couple of beers and whatnot. I'm still going to call the series Sober Suicide, but who are we kidding? Whether I had a couple of beers or not, they're going to call this thing mental illness. They're hardwired to do it. The mental health community, they are hardwired to fixate on the person committing suicide. They won't fixate on the police department. They won't fixate on members of their own community that have also played a part in this. The medical rape that I endured, they're not going to fixate. They're not even going to acknowledge any of this whatsoever. They're only going to fixate on me and find reasons to blame me. Find reasons to say this was wrong with me, that was wrong with me. And the reality is that in those particular regards, there's nothing wrong with me whatsoever. There's something wrong with life, okay? When a man can't simply, travel on his bicycle without police tyranny making life oppressive, then, for Christ's sakes, you can't even travel the road unless you do it in a fashion where you are relegated to nothing more than one of the many animals that I see just killed on the side of the road. Not in the middle of the road, on the side of the road, So, alright. I guess that's all I'm going to say for right now. My time here is short. They're about to close up not too long. So, I want to see if I can get this uploaded. Alright guys, Total Control 871.